We will not be stopped. We will not be slowed down. We will not be retarded.
Governor, I'd like to ask you about what's going on in Seattle. There's this thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely?
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that.
What should voters make of the fact that you were apparently oblivious to police abandoning an entire precinct in the state's largest city?
Yeah, well, listen, if you look at the facts of that situation, I could not have been oblivious to it because I actually deployed the Washington State National Guard.
Sir, then why do you say you did not know about it?
You'll have to go back and look at some quote. I can't comment on the quote right now.
This is news to me. You went on to say, I haven't heard about it from any credible source. Nearly 2 days after CHOP happened, you're now saying you did know about CHOP.
Listen, I can't tell you. I knew about CHOP. The calls we have made have been very difficult, but they have succeeded. I'm not sure you want to go back and reform when you won the Super Bowl. And we've won the Super Bowl of the COVID pandemic. Unfortunately, we see COVID activity hitting us big time. The morgues and funeral homes in Cowlitz County are at capacity. We've had to get refrigerated trucks to hold the deceased so that they can be treated with dignity.
When Governor Jay Inslee toured the destruction in the burned town of Malden, he brought a gift with him.
The first thing our state did for this community is I delivered to the mayor a box of Honey Kruse apples that Trudy and I picked this morning from the governor's apple tree.
Later, he'd visit the wildfire-rampaged Okanagan County. It's a huge apple-growing community, so the folks there were expecting he'd change tact for that trip.
There's apples everywhere. We're surrounded by apples. It's apple harvest. Surely he'll bring us something different, and surely he did not.
Things got weird when people started to examine the fruit more closely.
My son brought me the apple that I always crack the apples open, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is rotten. This is horrible. Nobody would eat this.
The apples were filled with maggot larvae.
You are a bioreactor facility generating virus and spreading it around, including to kids who can't get vaccinated. I want to reiterate that. If you're a 50-year-old man who, voted for Donald Trump and didn't think COVID was a problem and you don't get vaccinated right now, you arrest every kid in your city. And if that's not judgmental, so be it. These folks couldn't run a two-car funeral as far as I can tell right now. And then they're so incompetent, they couldn't run a two-car funeral. I got to tell you, these people couldn't run a two-car funeral. So I am announcing today that I'm a candidate to become the next president of the United States. It's become clear that I'm not going to be carrying the ball. I'm not going to be the president, so I'm withdrawing tonight from the race. We might put your name on the do not handshake list.